Hello and welcome back to the channel. As you can see from what's in front of me, sorry for the noise, I've been to the Apple Store. As I said in another video that I haven't put out yet, iPhone season is upon us. Apple just released 4 brand new iPhones, and so I pre-ordered 2 of them to make a video about. Why 2, you might be asking? Well, 2 is exactly how many they had for pre-order. For whatever reason, when Apple announced these devices, only the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro were available to pre-order. The Mini and the Max are not going to be available to pre-order for another week, I think. It's the beginning of November. My wife has not had her phone upgraded for a few years, so we're upgrading her to the iPhone 12 to test out. And I'm going to be upgrading from the iPhone 11 to the 12 Pro, although I'm not 100% on this one. From what I understand, it's very similar in size to the 11. It has that additional camera, but it's a telephoto camera that I never used on the previous phones, so I don't know. Anyway, I thought we would take just a minute, sort of talk about some of the things that have changed, some of the differences between these two, unbox them. As you can probably tell, the boxes are very, very skinny because there are some things that are not in these newer versions. Obviously, there's no earbuds included anymore, but the other big thing, there's no charger included. They are including a cable, they're not including a charger. One of the other interesting features about these newer phones, they upgraded the wireless charging and they added what they're calling Magsafe. So I ordered this Magsafe adapter, which showed up like a week early, but again, it does not have a charger either. It said Magsafe wireless charger, but it didn't actually come with one. Does that bother me? Absolutely not. I have a bundle of these things laying around. This is a RAV Power, I think it's a 30 watt adapter. No, 61 watt wall adapter. So I can just plug into this and I'm good to go. I also have a 30 watt version of this, which I'll put links to these things down below. RAV Power, Anchor, other companies like that are making these, and they are so cheap. They're like $15, $20 max. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in, have it ready to go. So anyway, let's start opening these boxes. And I thought for this initial video, we'll just kind of open it up. We'll talk about the fact that there are some new things about them, what's different between the two, and so forth. First and foremost sort of thing you can see here, 2 cameras on the iPhone 12, 3 cameras on the 12 Pro. I did go with the white model for the 12 and the Pacific blue for the 12 Pro. There's also a very nice blue color for the 12. It's not the same color though. And if you can see this, I didn't realize this going into it, but the 12, very, very glossy finish. The 12 Pro, not glossy, matte finish. I'm a big fan. I think they did the same thing on the 11 and 11 Pro. I have a case on it all the time, so it really doesn't matter. But as you can see, the back of the iPhone 11, very, very glossy, very shiny. You can see the reflections in it. But with the 12 Pro, there is no reflection. Just a very soft, oh, I like that. Photogenic is what we'll call that. But again, it'll be in a case all the time, so it really doesn't matter. What else do we have in these boxes? Both of them now coming with Lightning to USB-C cables. These were like $25 a piece before, although I did order more from Anchor and I think they were like $12 max for like 10-foot versions of these. Anyway, still very nice to have these as an option, but it is still Lightning at the other end, so your traditional cables will continue to work as well. And the other thing in these packages is the SIM ejector tool. Surprisingly, no real documentation, safety and handling information, and some FCC Class 1 laser information, and a single sticker. I have heard a lot of people complaining about not having the charger. I'm not heartbroken over that or anything. It is kind of sad to see this expensive of a phone without it, but this does allow them to keep the price down, and honestly, I have not used a single Apple adapter in probably the last, I'm gonna say 5 to 7 years, maybe more. I tend to use my own adapters and or wireless chargers and or charging hubs, things like that, because having individual bricks, they all just clog up the power strips around the house. So moving on, let's go ahead and get all of this removed. That's interesting. It's got white on this one and on that one. Normally that's clear. We'll peel it off. Nothing on the back. But just in case you kind of missed what was on there, notification toggle, plus and minus volume, power button, charging. Just in case you've never used a phone before. And just holding them up side by side, the size is identical. Notification toggle, volume up and down, SIM card tray over here, lightning ports on the bottom, speakers on the bottom. What is that? Power button on the side, and I'm not sure what that is. You'd think I would know what this is. I don't know what that is. While I try to figure that out, I'm gonna go ahead and power both of these up. So we'll just hold the power button. There you go. We'll get the boxes out of the way. And very quickly, they're both at the point where they're ready to set up. Select your country or region. Quick start. The irony of trying to set up 2 phones at the same time. My original phone did not know what to do, so it just went for one of the 2 and it was the wrong one. There we go. I had to lock and unlock both phones to get this to actually work. We'll get this all centered up. It's setting up my new phone from my old phone. Enter the passcode. Every time I touch these, it just reminds me of that I'm gonna have to put a case on it eventually because if you can hear that rattling around on the camera bump, but it is going through the activation process now. It wants to set up Face ID, so let me go ahead and do that. It says position your face in the frame if you've not seen this before. Very funny that we don't use Face ID a whole lot anymore because we wear masks everywhere we go. Very simple, very easy. I am a big fan of Face ID. It could be faster though. Now I have the option to transfer my data directly from the iPhone or from iCloud. I'll probably just go ahead and do the iCloud because I've had everything backing up to iCloud so far. Hit agree. And I think before I get too much farther, I'll probably go ahead and put a case on this just so I don't drop it and break it. Maybe it's just that I had such a big case on this phone. Maybe it's that there's a significant difference, but it feels like the screen on this new phone is significantly larger. I don't know, it feels like there's much smaller bezels. It's asking me if I want to restore all my apps and data, and it says my last backup was almost a day ago. So anyway, what's the differences? What is special and unique between the two? As I mentioned earlier, you do have that telephoto lens on the iPhone 12 Pro. You also have LiDAR, just like you have on the iPad Pro. Other than that, they are very, very similar. I've been forgetting to show it. I'm actually going through this entire process. Do you want to set up your Apple Watch? Yes. Improve Siri, share audio recordings. I probably shouldn't be doing that, but whatever. And now it's just waiting for the backup to complete. But yeah, other than the additional camera and the LiDAR, the 12 Pro and Pro Max are supposed to be getting Apple Pro RAW, meaning that they will have the ability to take Pro images in the camera, raw images in the camera, and edit them natively on the phone. Is that something that's for everybody? Absolutely not. They both do 4K 60 video. They both do the Dolby Surround, Dolby Vision, that's what it's called. Again, is that for everybody? No. And I've seen some very early video coming out of the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max on things like Instagram. And if you use any of the additional special things, the HDR and the extra features that Instagram's not ready for, it's not gonna look great yet. So just be aware of that. I think while I wait for this to happen, I am gonna look up, try to figure out what this additional thing is. Because if you can see it, it looks like a fingerprint sensor almost. That's what I keep thinking it is. Okay, I'm back. Just did a very quick Google search for what's that weird thing below the power button on the iPhone 12. Unfortunately, not a fingerprint sensor. It's nothing for the Apple Pencil. It's the 5G millimeter wave band antenna opening. So even though we do have antenna bands here and there and here and there and here and there, we also have this very large cutout that doesn't actually do anything. Not a big fan of that. It doesn't hurt anything, but if they could have made it a button or made it a Touch ID, like having Touch ID right there would have been amazing, especially again, wearing masks everywhere we go, which I happily do. And I stepped away for a minute to let my wife go ahead and start setting up the iPhone 12. And when I came back, this phone is in the process of downloading all sorts of apps and stuff. But my watch has started binging. It says pair with new iPhone. Do you wish to use this with iPhone 11? And if you can see that there, it's because it picked up the name iPhone 11 as part of the transfer process, because that's a custom name I gave. So we'll go ahead and fix that now. Give the passcode, and now it's resetting itself to work with the new phone. And of course, I'm gonna have to re-sign into everything. So this is gonna take a little while. I think the other thing I wanna make sure to do in this initial video about the phone is just talk a little bit about the Magsafe. So this is supposed to support faster charging and more stable, more continuous charging without like press it down and hope that it starts charging. Because, watch this, this is the first time I'm doing this. I've not done this before. Oh, it binged. It says 85% charged. And I think, yeah, that's a pretty firm connection. That's significant. I do wish that it would say something on here about how fast it is charging or whether it's doing fast charging, because it doesn't say anything about that here. But again, if I just go ahead and pull this off, set it down on the table, it's charging. Boom, no problem. I'm gonna go ahead and turn sounds off because I hate that, but very easy. I am a big fan. And there's supposed to be an additional one of these coming out later. I didn't see a release date for it, but essentially it's going to be like a little wallet with a MagSafe charger on one side and an Apple Watch charger on the other. They also mentioned that I think Logitech is coming out with a 3 charger that will do the iPhone on one part and then the AirPods Pro on another, or the AirPods on another, then the Apple Watch in the middle, so you can be like whole ecosystem in one charger. For me, I think this will get the job done for now. And it is, as you may have seen from the time on the phone and everything, it's getting very late. So I think I'm going to wrap this initial video up about the device and come back to it again with maybe some camera sample tests. And if you haven't seen it already, there's probably a video out now or will be out soon about some of these cases for the new iPhones, because this company iBlazon did send me some dummy devices. So this is what the iPhone 12 mini is supposed to look like, just sort of side by side with this. There you can see it. Significantly smaller and a little bit nicer in the hand, in my opinion. So that's kind of why I'm conflicted. It's like, do I really want to have paid an additional $350 or something to get one extra camera, a bigger phone, and the promise of pro level features down the road that I'm probably not actually going to use. I don't know. I have a couple of weeks to decide, and if I really just don't love it, I can return it to Apple and get the smaller one. I guess let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Would you go for something smaller like the 12 mini? Would you go for the 12? That feels like the best option for a lot of people. The 12 Pro or the Pro Max. The larger devices like the Max, I'm not a fan. It's not for me. This is a pretty good size for me, but the smaller one's calling my name. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up there for today. Let me know what you'd like to see from me, from sort of your average Joe, about the new iPhone 12 and 12 Pro, and possibly the 12 mini down the road. Thanks as always for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you like this video, this quick, weird, off-the-wall kind of video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to get notified when new videos come out, there's also a notification bell you can hit that will hopefully let you know when videos come out. And I'll see you again in the next one. Bye, guys.